Hey everyone, Dr. Hughes here with ColumbiaThyroidRelief.com here in Columbia, Tennessee. And today we're going to be talking about success secret number 5, and that is knowing the autoimmune triggers. When you're dealing with autoimmune thyroid or any other type of autoimmune condition, there are certain environmental factors that can make that condition worse. A big part of autoimmune conditions is obviously genetics. You have genes that predispose you to these conditions. However, those genes are going to be triggered and expressed by your environment, by things that are surrounding you in your life. So today I wanted to touch on a few of the most common ones that will tend to trigger those immune responses that end up, causing a muck and, doing some damage in your body. So one of the first, and this is probably the one that nobody wants to hear about, but it's different types of foods. And for the most part, it's typically, going to be your processed foods, which is something that everybody loves, but at the same time, you could be eating these things and it's making you worse. And probably some of the more common ones are gluten-containing foods, which are going to be things like breads, whether it's white or wheat, pastas, oats, barley, rye. And actually, I'm going to do a whole other video on gluten and why it's so detrimental when it comes to thyroid. So this is just a little preview. But basically, gluten-containing foods, and as well as dairy products are another big one, and also soy products. Those are probably the biggest things that we see people having reactions to. In our office, we do specific testing for a whole array of the most common types of foods. There's over 20 of them that we'll typically test for to see if you're having reactions with them or if your body is predisposed to having reactions to them. But foods can be very important when it comes to calming down immune system attacks and getting you healthier. Now, what about other types of triggers? Well, just briefly, iodine. A lot of thyroid patients end up taking iodine because they go to some nutritionist or they go to the health food store, and as soon as whoever's in charge there says, here's the word thyroid, they say, oh, you need to be taking iodine. And true enough, iodine is very important when it comes to thyroid physiology. However, iodine can make you worse if you are dealing with autoimmune thyroid. And I am going to be doing, once again, a whole other video just on that subject, so you'll get a better understanding of that. But basically, iodine will trigger an immune response if you're dealing with an autoimmune thyroid. So you have to be very careful with it. Now, moving on. Other types of triggers can be different types of chemicals that people are typically surrounded by, but they really don't know it, okay? Because they're in things like household chemicals, gasoline, cigarette smoke is another big one that contains things like formaldehyde and benzenes and other types of nitrites that will make your immune system go a little nuts. So cigarette smoke is a big one, as well as other types of household chemicals, cleaners, pesticides is another big one. So you have to be very aware of your environment, both in things you're actually consuming, but also things that are in your environment that you don't even realize that you're getting in them through the air, through how you're breathing, or if you're near somebody who smokes. These are things you have to be very aware of and very careful about when it comes to your environment. So as I said, we're going to be doing some other videos that'll dive a little deeper into some of those triggers, but I hope that sheds some light. So once again, be very aware of your environment, of what you're putting in your body, because it will have an effect on your thyroid condition if you're not careful. So, I'm Dr. Hughes. We'll see you next time.